that when I walked in here, I was talking to him as my friend. At times he visits me at office. So when I was like, I wish you had beckoned me, I would have come in my like a relaxed guy, no, not these fatigue, heavy things. Um, but I'm happy to be here. I didn't know that there is this big community. I'm really energized. I feel enthusiastic about the future. Only that there is some edges as she was presenting. She was touching a few things here and there. And I didn't want to jump in before I can come in. But yeah, I'm happy that someone is taking care of certain things that we didn't get the chance in our times too. And I can't remember her name, but yeah, your presentation was great. I love to see when there's fusion. Fusion, I mean, there is something good coming out, and production do things. As I talk today, I will shift you a little bit. Personally, I'll claim I've lost a little bit of the edge. I've gained we have so much ignored. But that does not mean that I don't code. No one should lie to you that. I do. I follow technology, and I can tell you where we are going exactly. And I can tell you the most trendy one and why I would take that. And at times I'll tell you why you shouldn't go there, and I'll tell you you'll not get support. Because I've tried out these things. First of all, the thing is, you read a lot, you research a lot, you do the things you yourself. You have less time to sleep. The higher you go, the more is required of you. So just know that the higher you go, the more is required of you. Having said that, we've been talking about mainly the Python program. The first question in mind is, what is it for? I'm a dev, I'm super cool, I know, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. So what? Is it tough? It's a question that also I grappled with. I'm not trying to put you down, but I grappled with it. It took me 10 years to do my master's. 10. Because I didn't find purpose. Yes. I was a systems admin. Most of you might see me and can recognize where you found me. I was a systems admin at Faculty of Computing and IT for 6 years. I was there as a network admin as well. I would automate processes, and I was very lazy. I was very lazy because I loved automating processes and sit and watch and enjoy my free time. And because things were routine, I got a little bit bored. So I lacked purpose. I asked myself, what else can I do? I'll tell you one thing that will keep you pushing: rediscover your passion. What do you like most? What do you love doing? How can you make you excel at what you love doing? Now, it gets even more trickier. Now, you love doing that. How can you make the money? At the end of the day, do you have on your wallet? So, I'm here to give you a push. When I was young, I'm going to tell you a story before I can begin this presentation. Hold the thing of a presentation here. I loved being a doctor. I was very good at science in my primary, mathematics. I excelled so well. I entered into secondary because I got a 6, actually. But because of financial issues, I didn't end up in a good school. So I struggled a little. And when I did my S4, because of lack of career guidance again, when I failed my chemistry, my dreams were shattered. At A level, it wasn't like these times. I could not do biology. No school wanted me with biology. And no one could entrust me with chemistry either. So what happened? I ended up with PEM. The dreams changed. I dreamt again. Aeronautic engineer. I worked on my mathematics. I was a Casazo. All those numbers. Things came back. Again, I would qualify to go to Sorority Flying School, but on private. And guess what? No money. I felt like they've poured on me chilly cold water. I felt like all the dreams were shattered. Now, there was this thing called computer science. It had just come. That is around in my 2004. You see how old I am. I think most of you are thinking I was young. I am a very old guy. I've been here quite for a while. We are the guys who used Pentium 2, Pentium 1. We are the guys who use those things. And when someone carried a flash disk or some disk there, you would want even to swing it in your arms. Everyone should see it. It was quite interesting. When I did my computer science, quickly I rediscovered myself being good at networks. Before I graduated, I was employed by the school. And it was fun how I ended up being employed. I wasn't doing things following protocol. I was hacking things. Then I got myself into trouble. So it was a non-disclosure agreement was reached. And I was going to given a job to close those loopholes. And in the end, be employed. And I was cushioned. So I was tamed. And I worked for the people I was hunting. Now I became the hunter. The things shifted a bit. So when I finished, before I could finish, actually, I was losing interest because I wasn't getting challenges. I was following protocol. What am I trying to drive at? The only thing why I was doing what I was doing. Thank you. What I was doing was, one, because of money. Two, because it was put food on the table. But I didn't have purpose. And I was doing it because at times I wanted to try out things the other way. Curiosity. Now, when they took away the curiosity from me and they told me to become the hunter, I quickly lost interest. That's the challenge. What am I driving at? It's good what we are doing here is great. We lack this skill. But this skill can easily go to waste, or we could lose interest if we cannot pair the skill plus the passion. Mark that. It's very important. Even when you don't have anybody running after you, your passion will drive you. Because you're looking at something bigger than just the coding, than just what you're doing. You'll always think of innovative ways of to make it even smarter and better. I don't know whether that one is making sense. Now, when I left, I went to the oil industry. Still, I meandered. Because of my skill, I'll tell you, in my entire life, I've never applied for a job and got it. I'm telling you. But those jobs they referred me to, I got them. Why? Do you think because I was dense? No. When you apply, some of you have not gotten this issue, but when you apply and someone feels you a threat, it's as good as getting your CV and throw it in a bin. And that's it. And then the serious ones who want people who work, they'll look headhunt. And those ones are the ones that gave me jobs, by the way. Because someone who knows somebody will say, you want that one who will sort God's son, so will go talk to him. Call him even if he has not applied. You bring him for an interview. And then you walk in there and you prove them wrong. And they give you the job. So I want to warn you, don't give up. Don't think because there's a time I applied for 576 jobs and I got none. But I never gave up. So if you think you're the only one job hunting, think again. You're not the first, but this is not the time to give up. Don't whine and dine. Even make yourself better. Better people who are serious will look for you. Now, I want still to go on that trajectory. I reached around 2017, I started to ask myself, people are telling me go for masters in data communications, you're good at networks. But what they never understood, I had lost interest long time ago. Yes, they were not wrong. I was very good, and I am still very good with networks. Very. I'm sure of myself. I'm CCNP certified. I'm security certified. I just choose not to go. I don't want, because I know I lose interest. I'll not go an extra mile. I asked myself, what can I do that really I'll keep on my toes to keep on thinking beyond the coding? Data science started coming along. I never began from there. There was something called health informatics. I applied for that job, for that course. When I went there, I applied for scholarship. I never got it. I walked in there. Sorry? No, they said I didn't qualify for it. There's a volume of people who applied. But I got to realize that even a person from libraries and information systems got the scholarship earlier than I did. And it was a pain to me, but I said, it is not me to judge. It's not my place. They know better. And I applied on private. When I applied on private, I paid for the first semester. Second sem, I didn't have the money. There you sat for the exams. And then asked for a dead year because I could not manage the other. During my dead year, I got a scholarship to go in Tanzania to do as an embedded and mobile systems engineer. So I went there. I excelled. I came back with a first class because I knew what I wanted exactly, and I went for it. And in there was AI and algorithms creation. And it's part of the things that I did and excelled at it. And it was there that I rediscovered myself, that I loved so much to work in the health sector. And me seeing, progressing with a person from their illness, offering a service, and seeing that my service has changed their life, gave me purpose. And that's why I wanted to be a doctor. Because at home, whenever someone was sick, they used to nickname me doctor. I'd squeeze the juice, I'd come check on you, I'll make sure you've taken your meds. I will follow you through. And I'll do it with a lot of pride because I loved what I did. Now, when I came back here, I never knew that that thing was just buried inside within me. When I reached, I decided to solve a problem, actually. That's what ended up me somewhere in an organization in the health sector. They are having some medication called dolutegravir for HIV positive patients, but that medication was causing hyperglycemia. So I designed a tool that could predict that if you gave this one dolutegravir, be rest assured, you're going to invite hyperglycemia on your hands again, create another problem instead of solving one. So it now segregates who should be given dolutegravir and who should not. Now, that did not come easily. I had to leave my comfort zones of bragging about being the dev and read literature about medication, epidemiology, go dig deeper and understand their field. And that's where my area of talk is going to be about. It is time for us devs to stop whining and dining and sitting and saying they will come to us. No, they won't. We have to be aggressive and take the ball in their what? In their court. Now is the time. That's how we are going to play hard. That when you do that, you'll be respected. And we should aim at changing a life. Because all these endeavors we are doing, these beautiful environments, we are developing frameworks, they'll be all useless if they cannot help human life. I'll give you an example. Microsoft dreamt that every desk should have a desktop to help business. Became the most rich man in the world. Another one who overtook him was Jeff Bezos. Said people should shop from their sitting room. He's a billionaire. Whoever is bringing disruptive technology is coming with a service mindset. Even if they're devs, their minds are service-oriented. That's the only way we are going to show our relevancy, that we are indispensable. Is it tough? It's easy. We don't have to know everything. That's the other good part of it. There's what we call interdisciplinary. Now, when we look at here, data science strategy, I've just given you exactly what I did for this organization. It's not me who answers this. You should know how to interact with stakeholders. We call them stakeholders, in quotes. It's not you who defines what they want, and that's always our problem. Because we want an easy way out, you say, things work this way. No, you don't know. Let me tell you, I'm going to use this language. Remember, you're just a support staff. It's hurting, but it's the truth. Do you know why you're a support staff? You're not a professional. It's hurting. But I have to hurt you because I want you to get gunned up. Tell me if you're a professional, what can you do on your own? Don't talk about business. You, as a computer scientist, what can you do out without any other discipline? Nothing. The only thing you can do is manufacture. Develop the frameworks. What are they used for? Health? Business? You're not a professional. You're support staff. We can do without you. Because things were being done without you anyway. Sorry, I know it's hurting, but it's the truth. You know, I'm giving kind of career guidance. You'll not get it from class. They'll lie to you the way you are. No, it's not the truth. This is the truth I'm telling you. The only way to make yourself relevant, choose a professional field. Become very good at it. Then you'll become a professional in that field, and you can now deviate or diversify to other fields and offer the same services. But when they ask you, you say, for example, I am a public health data scientist. That one is a profession. I am a health informatician. That's a profession. You're combining data science and health information to create your relevance. You create it how? Is to make an extra mile to go on the other hand, on the other face of the aisle. What I'm telling you to start thinking of now. Reach down and redefine yourself. How can I make my computer science, my data science, my Python speak for me? Hello? Is it tough? Yeah, the world is not easy. It's not for the shaky. And do not think that anybody will throw any pity party for you. No. No way, no one. They are ready to chew and throw you under the bus, and they pretend nothing has ever happened. And the world will move on. No one will even care. But the moment you establish yourself that you are indispensable and you're bringing value, everybody will what? Will want to listen. Now, how do we do this? Always people talk about strategies. There are blue documents. A strategy is the way you would get a data science strategy to get a company's strategy and implement it in the data science terms. And for you to be successful to do that, you need a programming language like Python. You will never be successful at that implementation without it. So what does Python do? It becomes a tool. It is not the centerpiece, but it is a very critical piece. Why it's not a centerpiece? A strategy is always there, even without data science. Put it in your mind. It can be there without what? Data science makes it smarter, makes it even more efficient. That's what I want you to understand. And what drives data science? A few languages. I know some of you don't know R, but in the health sector, there is a language called R. Yes, mainly biostatisticians use it. The challenge with that language, you cannot implement it with systems. So that's where Python comes in. And even if you develop any model in R and do everything in R, they're what we call some when I remember the word, I'll tell you, that convert those models to Python. Still, for you in order for you to be able to implement them. So Python takes center stage. So you take center stage. So you have already a plus. I'm not saying that you should all go to health, but start thinking. What do you want? Is it business? Now, I've heard people talking about cloud, about data. For us to go data science, for us to use this Python effectively, there is something called data organization. That organization has so many elements. There is harmonization to meet data standards. Standards differ from profession to profession. The standards within the health sector are different from business, are different from engineering, aeronautic engineering, and all those other places. So you understand the data standards of the domain where you want to go. Make it a prerequisite for yourself. And make sure you understand this very well. There's what we call structure models. Before you could make any analysis, you'll have to harmonize that data, you have to standardize it. So when you standardize it, you ease analysis. And data science is all about analysis. That's why you build those models. So you'll not build those models without standardizing and organizing this data. So you can even just decide that you build codes just to do only that job. I'll tell you, the health sector is a mess. They have a lot of data. It is siloed. Siloed, I mean, nothing speaks to each other, and it's not coherent. You cannot even trace a record. So if you can figure out a way just to make yourself relevant, that you're sorting out data, making a record coherent of a patient, and make them be able to make their research comfortably, and make them milk the data they've collected over years, that has been lying redundant on papers, on shelves, in machines and servers, there is a fortune. I'm speaking with experience because I'm doing it right now. And that's why I'm employed. I'm not doing the fancy stuff, but I'm laying the foundation. We are not yet there. It's good we know where we are going. We are going cloud. We are not, let us come back to earth. It's just like swinging our legs in the air without where to stand. You go in the cloud whether you'll find anything about Africa. Why? Have you ever asked yourself such a question? Why don't we have so many things about Africa in the cloud? Don't you think? We don't. We have data. That's not true. Why? Data is dirty, it's not organized. The required organized data to meet the standards of being hosted in those clouds, we don't meet them, most especially in the health sector. I'll stay where I am because I know it better in and out. The businesses have tried because of international collaborations in businesses. Now, because of research, the health sector is having international collaborations. Now, it can start as this, and maybe I'll even tell my friend that come up with some proposals for this organization to just have a collaboration with many other NGOs just to offer free services of organizing up data. And you write proposals where they will fund. This benefits with the people in here. It gets this organization somewhere and gets known, and people will start to get employed. Because they will start saying, okay, who did this? PyCon Uganda. Who are the leaders of PyCon? Could you get me a guy who could do this? Then you just unpick, you say, you come. Go there. You start planting your ambassadors. Before you know it, you dictate the environment and dictate the terms because you have your ambassadors everywhere. It is the time. And you know, with me, when you start doing that, I can't close that door. I'll make it wide what? Open. Are we there? Let me rush through this. Now, the challenge we have is another thing. I don't want to make you assume that things are going to be on a silver platter. People there know. And the most dangerous people are those who know haphazardly. Because they've read about something over the internet, they think they know. And the only way to thrive in that environment is, even if you're a nerd and you think you know much, at times you shut up and let yourselves fail miserably and fail well. Such that when they say, okay, we've failed, you say, all right, can we go back to the other junction where I had said this? After some time, they'll build the trust. But when you've just walked in there, the medical professional has the most proud people. I want to tell you that. They're very proud. Unless you allow them to fail and fail well, you will not work with them. That one I should warn you. But that does not mean that they are not good. They are good people. But the challenge is that they think they know because they've gotten to a glimpse. So you have to allow them to be beaten, hands down, to humble themselves. Then you will be able to talk and they will listen. So you first humble yourself before they can humble themselves. So if you think you're going to walk there with an ego, you've failed right from the start. Now, the challenges of data science in there are interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary means you not walk there and dictate how things will be done. You don't know how data is organized. Like, for example, diseases. Do you know that all the diseases in this world are numbered, except certain diseases within Africa that we've not taken time to code? Malaria has a code internationally. If you want, I'll refer you to International Classification of Diseases. They are numbered from, the recent one is 16. So it's, you can have from 16, International Classification of Diseases 16 to, I think, the one that has not been phased out is 8 yet. Up to 8, but they began with 1. So, every disease has a code, which means you don't need a primary key. These things where I see you people saying, hey, primary key, I say, okay. Then I just know that you're doing that because you're ignorant. Me, you do certain things and I'll know you're ignorant, but I'll excuse you because it's not your profession and you don't have an idea. How does that play out? That's why we are talking about that organization. It enables interoperability. It confirms to inter-exchange of data in systems called HL7 or FIRE, Fast Interoperability Resource, whereby every data is coded. So standardization of exchange APIs is already done for you. So you have already a smooth landing. The only thing is, because we don't care to know what is happening in the other professions, we come with our naivety and develop systems that do not talk to each other. And whose problem is it? Ours. Never same with the health workers. No, it's our ignorance. Is it tough? Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you, I'm not saying you've done nothing. You are good. I'm just trying to start thinking outside your comfort zone. You want to stay ahead of the queue? Think outside your comfort zone. Reach out to the other side. Don't ever sit and say, they will come to me. You wait for them to come to you. No one will. And you know where that symbol, that kind of thing has? You have a problem of, I'm looking for a job. Who tells you we just have jobs here? Try something like, you have this problem. May I tell you, do you know that this one can be sorted out like here, like this, like that? Before you know, oh, by the way, do you have a job? You can help us sort out this. Offer yourself as a solution provider, not like a person who is looking for pity party, someone to have sympathy on you to give you a job. No one has that time. Then if you come to me, I say, what can you do? You see, I can program Python. So what? What else? Nothing. I say, okay, I'll think about it. And I'll go. And you say, the guy is so proud. No, because I don't want a lot of baggage on my hands. Also, I want someone who will be able to hold me. When you come and you know more, I say, oh, I think, yeah, we can work out something. Because I know you are going to help me shine. As I unleash your potential, you shine, I will shine in the end. But when you come and you are coming again, you are stressing me, but I have other baggages, another load on top of me. No way. No. That's not how it works. I'm giving you how things work. In the real world, this is the truth. Does it mean I don't love you? I do. This is not about love, it's business. Now, the first thing I think is defining the problem we are dealing with. You can call it defining requirements or so forth. Then capture the data of that problem. You'll find that the problem was already known. And before we could begin there, health sector is very unique. It is the sector where I found that ethics, confidentiality, and privacy are at the helm of everything. Privacy is key. You don't play with their data. Any research to take shape in this nation must be approved at least thrice. One, it goes through scrutiny in the research organization where you are basing. There is a research committee to see whether, they call it rigor. Your hypothesis has rigor. When it passes, you write the proposal or the concept. All right? When you receive funding, you have again to request approval to carry out that research from the Research Ethics Committee. When that one passes again, you go to UNCST. That's how, those are the levels. Again, from there, there is what we call the participants or patients' personal data protection law. You have to abide by that. And you have to come out with a clear data management, processing, analysis, and storage plan. But whenever they do for siloed data. They don't think big. That's where you come in. You are supposed to be the think tank, to think central storage, to think big data, to think all those things for them and offer a solution. Hello? We've not touched code yet. I like you guys to go back and think through. I'm not saying code is bad. Code is great. Do I still code? Ask him. I do. I do. But I'm just trying to show you how big it is. Even when I code today, I'm second guessed, by the way. Even with my organization, they second guess you. They say, we cannot invest in this. First, you know what you do? First make a pilot. They want to see whether you know what you're talking about. But then they will start disturbing you. See, this one must have changed. Then you say, okay, what's the difference between an MVP and a real finished product? They said, what do you mean an MVP? Most viable product. I mean, what do you mean? I said make a pilot. I said, okay, a most viable product is better than a pilot. A pilot is a proof of concept. Most viable product is a fully functional product. Then they will be like, but you see, it's okay, I'll do what you want. But if you want to avoid that, there's what we call a TOR. I'm learning on job. Because they've stretched me so many times, they give me requirements, they say, add on this one, you see now this one here would have been better. They will stretch. You've met these gigs, eh? Haven't you ever met these gigs? They keep on stretching one kawan, another kawan. Then, before you know it, they are holding back your payment. You've done more than the work. You are frustrating. Now, when you get frustrated, you know the reason? You've not done a TOR, a terms of reference. When you go with that, when they say, in our terms of reference, we said, 1, 2, 3. Let us go back. This is the roadmap. And you approve this implementation plan. Now, don't you think that it's very good? I'm not saying it's bad, but we are going off course. It will help you a lot. So what I'm trying to say is, don't forget documentation and guiding principles and literature and agreements as you do what you do. They will protect you and also protect the other party. If you don't know, have a lawyer on your retainer. Actually, don't get a fully-fledged lawyer. Get students who are in fourth. I'm telling you, I've done these things. Who in their fourth year, they know how to draft these agreements. They will try to save you this hula bar of reading thousands of pages. You don't know even those penal codes acts and those this stress. They will save you. They will draft, then they will say, okay, this saves you. Then you go in your negotiation room, you know your negotiating points. You negotiate after, you sign. Then you get another one. When they start, you get a lawyer on a retainer. Say, you know what? We are going to negotiate me and you. A retainer is, you're not paying them money that I'm employing you. But you can decide that every month I pay you 100,000. Or for the full time of this contract. Every month I'm paying you 100,000. Whether we are going where, whether we are not, whether you've worked or not, it is free money. Such that by the time you need them, you just, cancel. You come and help me here. You'll call them and they will come. You tell them this is not a lot of money that I'm going to earn, but I'm willing to share it with you. I'm not saying you're going to pay them 100,000 exactly on everything, but you find some suitable amount. Okay? That's why I'm telling you that interdisciplinary is important. When you begin a health project, there must be either a medical worker, and that medical worker, it's always good to have a doctor, experienced, not people from school. You rather bring an experienced research nurse who has dealt with issues of that nature than bring a doctor fresh from school. You're bound to fail. It's experience that I'm telling you. They know a lot better than a doctor fresh from school. Those experienced nurses, research nurse. Mainly someone tells you, I am a registered research nurse. That one. And has done studies around a disease you're trying to build a system for, is an asset. You'll pay them less, they'll give you work equivalent to a doctor's. Do you know why? They're the ones who take care of the patients. They're the ones who interface with the patients every other day, day to day. So they will give you practical experiences, realistic things. Don't build abstract things. They won't thrive. You want to stay real. This, all what I've been talking about, that data science is just right in the center. But when you look, crafting out data science, you'll have, for example, in the health sector, an epidemiologist must be there. There is an infectious, that should be an infectious diseases expert. Or you'll have also, in the analytics section, biostatisticians, you'll have mathematicians, you can have bioinformaticians, monitoring and evaluation people. You've had those guys. All these are in the analytics section. Then you guys from computer science will be on this end where your Python will be. You see, like, to sort out this entire problem, you're just parts, like a small part here. But you see that all you need it for you to be successful. So I'm just trying to tell you to keep your mind open and learn how to interact with other people from other disciplines. That's the only way you're going to be successful. Know when to take charge, know when to let them take charge. I'll give you an example. You might be using, let me say COVID-19. You might be developing a prediction model for COVID-19 to know who should go for screening and who should not. And you want to deploy that in the village, right? Where they've not really seen these challenges more. But you'd like to aid the health workers in those resource-limited settings to be able to make these decisions, to refer or not to refer. And let them be doing it accurately. Now, there is a challenge here. What challenge is there? That health worker will not be able to give you exact things that you would need because they've not interfaced with this disease. And when COVID-19 began, we had around 12 symptoms. As COVID-19 was phasing out, we had 56 symptoms. Do you know what would call that in machine learning? Variable drift. Variable drift brings model decay. So, to determine whether the model is most likely to decay is not privy to a doctor. So you should not strike the balance when you tell a doctor, you know what, even if you're not implementing monitoring tools to monitor model decay, given that we've had an increment in the variables of symptoms, and there are 5, and we're using symptoms to predict whether a person is going to go for a checkup or not, this model is decaying, therefore you need to change it. It's not their call, it is your call. Even if they say, no, you see, it was working well, you tell them, it's not your call. And confidently say it. And reason him. Why? Now, to determine which variable is cardinal. Now, a cardinal variable is that variable that happens, or that symptom that happens only in that disease. It's a pointer that it's that particular disease. There are groups of diseases or following systems. You'll find that COVID-19 is a respiratory infection. Influenza is a respiratory infection. N1 is a respiratory infection. Asthma is a respiratory infection. TB is a respiratory infection. So, if I am going to predict and single out COVID-19, I should be able to know the cardinal symptoms of COVID-19. Else, I will say TB is COVID because it affects the respiratory system. Telling you that you need interdisciplinary and you should know who takes charge where. Don't argue on things you don't have. You'll make yourself look funny. And you tell a person, no, this is the cardinal symptom. You'll be, since when are you a doctor? Then you're like, okay. Know when to take charge and know when to lay back. So those are very key. Now, data science capacity building pyramid. Since I'm resting time and I see we should be leaving, I've worked on different things. I've worked on AMR, antimicrobial resistance. I've worked on cancer, large language models, output and publishing plus blog briefs. In here, what we've discovered, for you to start even organizing data, the bedrock is data governance. What is data governance? Develop implementation of frameworks to support data sharing by PIs. This is, okay, I'm tailoring it to a research environment in the health sector. Subsequent data curation and ensure security and privacy of this data. That's all about the data governance will be all about. It means there will be a data policy, sharing policy. It will mean there will be a data security policy. There will be a data sharing policy. There will be a data privacy policy, confidentiality policy. Now, when all those ones are being done, there is a standard operating procedure by which data should be given out. Who authorizes the data? Who approves? How many are they? And then who, after the approval, who does the actual getting the data from the database to give it out to the person who has requested it? You understand? Who are the data stewards? That's very important. Third, you should define data standards. In those data standards, you can decide to define your data in terms of products. You'll be like, I have HIV product, I have TB product, I have this product, I have that product. And why you call it a product? Because you're offering a service. A service is a product. So you can decide to you're not charging man on data, but you are charging the service you are offering. And it will help you maintain data as an asset. That organization. I'll go here. I've been talking about this. These are things that I've been talking about. You see, we all put on this thing here. But you know that it collects your BP, your heart rate, your what? Where does it go? Does it even have any ID that identifies you in the cloud? We just tell the watch, receive the phone call, and you know, we can even swing our arms, and we want everyone to see. We as developers, are we maximizing the use of this thing here? Is it anywhere linked to your medical record? But yes, there is what we call things speak. Have you ever heard of it? Things speak. Who is an embedded guy here? Tobias, you don't know anything about things speak. Yeah, okay. You don't know anything about things speak. Please. I feel a bit challenged with that. Things speak is where Internet of Things devices can post their data, including your smartwatches, Internet of Things. You can collect data and push it to the Things Speaks. It's in the cloud. And that data, you can redirect it back to an on-site database. Push that data there. So, now, not only that, now there is a lot of genetic studies going on. but also is siloed. Then we have prescriptions, which is siloed. Diagnosis mainly for TB, which is siloed, and all other things that happen in the lab. And again, we are looking at clinical diagnosis. Clinical diagnosis is when you use symptoms to diagnose a disease. Oh, this must be malaria because you're having fever, you're having a headache, there is this, you've been you haven't been in a treated mosquito net, then there is a bush around, and there's stagnant water, Then they will diagnose malaria. So that's a clinical. Connected to the lab, a confirmatory test. Now, we need all this siloed data to be speaking to each other because we know and believe there is a lot of analytics that we should have gotten from all this if it was linked. That's why I was telling you that even if we don't do the most fancy things, but we get to write proposals that would help health sector do this, we would have sorted the most fundamental issue, and we would hold our heads so high and thump our chests. Trust me on this, I know what it means when we do that. Now, let us go down here. What does it mean? This is an imaging. This is genomics and protomy. This is clinical trials and observational studies. But because everything is jumbled, nobody makes sense. But because everything now has been connected, you see patterns and you see things. You say, oh, this is a tree. Oh, this is going this way. That's how it means. That's the power of all centralizing and organizing the data. We've not touched analysis. We've not touched anything. We've just made it look real. We have that power. And it can make us great. Now, how is that achievable? I'm just passing over and over, but trust me, there is a lot of work. You can even work and leave it there, and another builds on it, and you may not finish. Get it from me. Looks like it's a walk in the park, but it's not like that. It requires ethical approvals for us, first of all, to do that. One, there's what they call community advisory board from expert clients to allow us even look at that data, be able to connect it, be able to assess it and organize it. You need approval from Ministry of Health. You need approval from funders. Some funders have authority over data in that terrain. You need approval from ethics committees. You need approval. So it's a multi-stakeholder approval. That health data is so sensitive. But there is nothing impossible when there is will. That will not be your problem. That's why interdisciplinary approach is what? Required. Where we need these talks for ethics, to involve the lawyers get work to do. When their work stops, someone else gets work to do. When theirs stops, then we come in. We say we are here to organize. That's why I'm telling you we need a multi-stakeholder approach. So you see this is a health facility, an application. They are all collecting data. These are intermediary data repos, a central data repo. Then you can talk about all these MLs and what have you. That's where you begin to think tech. But where we've been all talking, it's all Lugambo, and we need to learn the Lugambo. As I sum up, How do we done? I've been talking about that organization and modeling. There's what we call structure models. This takes us back to the databases. Anyway, here you'll involve some skilling and you'll have to recall your other methods. Studies take certain things, but they are what we call fact tables. Fact tables are always endpoints, analysis endpoints. So you have to analyze and understand where are those fact tables and what are the analysis endpoints that main organizations need in whatsoever domain you've gone in. In the health sector, they like you're seeing all these fact tables. Then you are seeing this RPID. This is getting redundancy to improve optimization of querying. But otherwise, everything will be linked to an encounter visit, and you have a visit ID. Because at any one time when a patient walks in a hospital, that's a visit. And whenever they walk in, particularly for this kind of study, a cohort, they'll meet a clinician, and all these must be assessed. So it should be linked to an encounter. And this type of model is called OMAP. I'm not reinventing it, it is already there. It's observation of medical output of records for patients. That's what it's called, OMAP. Now, these kind of things are things that we have to familiarize ourselves with when you walk in there. And why am I pointing? Primarily without this redundancy, this is having a foreign key in here of a visit. The visit ID will be in here, the visit ID will be in here. But because at the end of it all, without redundancy, and we are analyzing data about a patient, it will cause querying issues. So to improve query optimization will be that. Then you are going to look at that. The architecture is just being developed. To know, that one will tell you how you arrange analysis for the so-called your AI data mining analysis at API access endpoints. All your analysis points will be there. And it will tell you how you'll do the data curation to enable ETLs for that databases. So there are so many things that you would do, you'd position yourself for. I never did that before, by the way. I liked coding and walk away, but now, because I familiarized myself, I'm doing structure modelings that I never did before. And also it's very important because this is about division of labor. I don't like when a programmer, a coder, is being given all this funny stuff. I'd like them to just understand how to read them and let them think about how to structure their functions, to structure their workflows, to structure this, rather than bothering them with this. So you can position yourself where your energy is going to be. In other words, I'm telling you there is a lot of work beyond what? Coding. Or you can multitask all of them to understand them. It's a plus. That's all a pipeline for arranging of this data. You'll never find patient data in the cloud. Data organization here, only here. Still around here. This should be the bedrock. So this is real work. That's what you'll find in there. Then don't think that it will be only that. You have to understand the data responsibility matrix. Capabilities, epidemiology and informatics, data governance, information technology, and enterprise architecture. You map out things and think widely. You have to, there's what we call start the end Start with the end in what? That's what it's all about. That's the data organization process I've been talking about. I've not talked about this, but I'll share with you some other time. But that's how the long process that you'd get just before you get the coding done. Now, when you do this, and these are the end products of all the talk that I've been talking about. Now, consent. I want to talk about this consent and data sharing agreement. Oh, where did it go? Sorry. You see, all this is unless a PI approves for you to get the data, consents to this form and signs, you'll never get that data. Depending on which organization it is, they have the authority, they're the custodians of that data. I'll end at that point and say, what are the benefits? Why did labor all do this? Why am I laboring for this? And what does it entail? And why am I saying the top management or the people behind PyCon would come up with a proposal? These are the benefits that the PIs and the medical fraternity enjoys when we've organized their data and put it out there. They will have enhanced data discovery. They will have this. They will have that. It is all theirs to enjoy. And when we do a data catalog, it's like we are publishing them. We are giving them mileage. We are advertising them about their studies they've made. And the more they get advertised, the more studies they win, the more money, the more recognition. Now, you might think they are the only ones gaining. No. When people see organized work of that nature, they ask, who did? These days, it is not all about, I want to work. No. Do something, people look and say, who did this? Then you'll get a referral. The other thing I told you, who did this? You get a referral from the serious ones. And when the serious ones come, just know you're in things. I'm telling you the truth. When the serious ones come, just know you're in things. But also you're in pressure. You have to assemble a team that you work with. It's all about teamwork. This one I'll tell it to you. To pull it off. And I'll say thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Ceasar. 2 questions, but please raise your hand. We have them, then he answers at once. Question number 1.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Ceasar, for the very insightful talk. I really loved a bunch of things about it. One of them being, finding a union or an intersection between my computer science and a profession, among other things. Well, I do love building developer tools. I know a few things about system architecture and maybe many things about Firebase, but I'm really passionate about certain things. And, you talked about your story about falling out and, getting bored at the system, at the job you had taken while still at university, and then opted to find yourself in health. I rhyme with something of that kind, and, my question is around that because I also did start school with civil engineering. 2 years in, I dropped out, and later on considered joining computer science somewhere else. So my question is basically around, you also did mention something around skill and passion, yeah? That it shouldn't just be the skill, the passion will keep you moving. So my question is, what would you say about a situation whereby you might want to keep your passion alive? I understand, I don't want to say passion is overrated, but I feel there are times when I loved certain things, but I reached a point and stopped liking them. For example, the things I love to build, developer tools, they're usually more like a long-term commitment. I'm committing to build this, maintain it for a long time. But what if I reach a point and I no longer love what I loved? But I maybe still want to love what I love. I don't know if it's... I want to keep my passion alive, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Can we? Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir, for the keynote. Thank you for the keynote. It was really very touching. Um, yeah. So my question is, you talked about finding a way to tie your passion to what you do so that it's sustainable in a way. My question is, what if turning your hobby or your loved passion into what sustains you leads you to actually hating what you loved in the first place? For example, you love coding, but if you start doing coding for a living, a person would have coded and be like, now I'm tired, let me hang out, let me stop. Now you have to code, let's say, non-stop, and you end up hate coding. Yeah, thank you.
I love this one. The room is fired up with questions. I had the first question was asking me, it's a tough one, that is at crossroads between hating what he loves and loving what he hates and all this. But the question would be, what is leading you there? There's always an underlying issue that we tend to overlook. It might not be really that it's the coding, but you might have some underlying issue that is making you hate it. Right now, I'll tell you that you're still under your father's roof. You don't care about shelter. You don't care about food. You don't care about amenities and utilities. You'll soon care. I guarantee you it's a matter of time. You'll soon care. And when you start caring, you'll see that money is a very vital asset and part of you. And if you do not start planning about it now, money will drive you. And then you will lose your sense of direction. The advantage you have now, why I'm telling you to marry your passion, you have that laxity that you don't pay the bills. If you pay the bills, I'm sorry. But if you don't pay the bills, you know what I'm talking about. The bill is taken somewhere else to take care of it for some of you. Now, utilize this time to figure out. No one is going to tell it to you unless you get an open up to a counselor. Just like me, I grappled with it. I told you, over 7 years, I was grappling with something that no one could answer. And during that time, being that we were one of the pioneers of computer science, we didn't get the chance someone to help us, give us free career guidance, and help us realize these things. You understand? We just came to realize them after some time. You have the chance. We did those mistakes for you. You don't have to do them. That's why I'm here. Guru. Because you know your age is innovation. However much they will code, they can't be innovative as you are. Because this is inherent in you. Am I answering a question?
Yes, you are. But maybe the bit you've not gotten to is the point where, because you talked about this job having been paying your bills and things like that. Years ago, when I made the choice to change my direction from civil to computer science and all that, I didn't have so much to lose. You also talked about how it was somehow covering your bills. So in a situation whereby my passion is actually footing a couple of my bills and things like that, but then I want to maybe switch to something different. You know, my passion has maybe changed or something like that. And perhaps that might impact, maybe I do have a family and things like that. Can I still be able to edit my passions and things like that? And how would you go about that?
Now, if your passion has changed, it means that your creativity also must be able to change. And if these things have changed, look up the sleeves of your skills in Python and see how you can change the course of your coding to have an intersection meeting with your passion again. Why am I insisting on this? This is a tool which is going to foster innovations with your passion. You should always have a linkage of your passion and your tools. This is a tool to excel. It's a skill that helps you shine. But as Python in itself has nothing without what it can be able to do. You can even use your Python to do something that is not your passion. But the risk you have is creativity. You will not be creative on things you have no passion about. There is some gentleman here. You said something? It's a similar question. Okay. Is it a question or a compliment? Question. How can I do sustainability for my passion? Okay. I'll give you an example. When I entered into this space, I entered at developing machine learning models as a data scientist. And this was for Doltographer, for my master's class. And this application has been very good in the clinic. It has helped a lot clinicians. Quickly, I realized that when there are outbreaks, doctors need information of guidelines on how to deal with outbreaks in an instant. And I realized they have a challenge of reading manuals close to 765 pages in order they are looking for a certain catchphrase that would help them do their implementation correctly, following the guidelines. And it's very hard to find in a very short time when you need it most at the implementation of these things, SOPs or something during outbreaks. Now, this is when LLMs had come. Therefore, I went down again to write a proposal which we are using to implement something called HEAL. It's an LLM used by doctors or health workers on the front line to search out for certain guidelines that would help them implement certain services to the dot as required by the Ministry of Health by simply querying and looking for this information within an instant. And I used an LLM to implement this. At first, I got quickly to realize that we could not implement it here. One, because of the infrastructure, we lacked that. We lacked the required architecture here. We didn't have it. And it was almost a failed project. Until when I was in a conference somewhere in South Africa, and I talked about this, I got in touch with like-minded people. They offered me free infrastructure. And this is from the University of California. And they gave me unlimited time and access to their GPUs. Because they saw that these things were very, very, very vital to offer service to the people. Now look at this. I am offering That's what I told you. Look out to help humanity. Always your passion should be in line with to help others. It's not all about you. It's about the other people. Microsoft wanted to help others, had money. Jeff Bezos, the same. Elon Musk, the same. Wherever there is disruptive technology, is there to help give a services to humanity. That should be the catchphrase. Now, I didn't have money for all these things. They offered. And it propelled me to do this work. And I was able to implement a model of 7 billion parameters. Today, that Llama 3 is deployed. And we've been able to use some plugins, and it's interfacing with ChatGPT. Why we are doing that, there's what we call GEI, Gender Equity and Inclusion, and looking out for marginalized languages and marginalized communities whose problems are not catered for well within AI and modeling world. So we are bringing them into contact with this information. They have something to gain. Because the information about Uganda and what is happening in the rural setting was, ChatGPT didn't have crystal clear information about these things. So we are gaining from their database and they are gaining from ours. It's a win-win situation.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ceasar. A round of applause for him. Yeah.